When an organization overseeing the stick tests uncovers a cheating scandal, a group of students is summoned to testify about their exceptional grades. The first student called is Lynn, a brilliant math student who has won numerous competitions. Lynn's mother left after her parents' divorce, leaving her and her father, who earns a modest salary as a teacher. Lynn's story begins when her father attempts to enroll her in an esteemed school, despite her reluctance due to the hefty enrollment fee and other expenses that would burden her father. However, during a conversation with the school principal, Lynn impresses her with her mental math abilities. As a result, the principal offers Lynn a scholarship, which she gladly accepts. While taking ID photos, Lynn meets Grace, a friendly and wealthy girl more interested in pursuing acting than studying. Despite their differences, they quickly form a strong friendship. Grace's grades have been average until the school introduces a new rule requiring a minimum average of 3.2. Desperate not to disappoint her parents, Grace asks Lynn to tutor her, and Lynn reluctantly agrees. On the day of the exam, Lynn tries to encourage Grace by reminding her that they practice the same exercises. However, Grace remains completely lost. While Lynn excels on her own test, she can't help but worry about Grace. If Grace fails, Lynn will lose her first true friend. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, Lynn writes the correct answers on an eraser, places it in her shoe, and kicks the shoe to Grace. Unfortunately, Lynn kicks too hard, and the shoe lands in the middle of the classroom. However, Lynn cleverly steps on the shoe while handing in her finished test, resolving the situation. Grace uses the eraser to pass the exam with a GPA of 3.87. To celebrate, Grace invites Lynn to hang out at her pool, where they are joined by Grace's boyfriend, Pat, who is also wealthy. Grace reveals their cheating tactic to Pat, who sees an opportunity. He offers Lynn a substantial amount of money to help him and his friends cheat on all their exams. Initially refusing due to her own scholarship, Lynn's resolve weakens when Pat reveals that her father is still paying administrative fees despite the scholarship. Lynn searches her father's desk and discovers the paperwork confirming Pat's information, leading her to tears. Later, while practicing piano, Lynn confronts her father about why he sent her to the prestigious school. He explains that he wanted her to have better opportunities, including the possibility of studying abroad, disregarding Lynn's preference for her previous school. At night, Lynn continues playing the piano and realizes her fingers could be used as signals while performing. The next day, Lynn accepts Pat's offer and teaches the group how to use piano codes as signals for the answers. They disguise their practice sessions as piano lessons to maintain legality and provide an alibi during future investigations. The group begins cheating on every exam, ensuring that Lynn's subtle hand movements go unnoticed by the teachers. This lucrative business expands rapidly, with more students willing to pay for the answers. Lynn uses the money to support her family and buy her father a new shirt. Despite the widespread success, Lynn remains the top student in her class, followed closely by Bank, a fellow genius unaware of the cheating operation. Bank, like Lynn, comes from a modest background and attends the school on a scholarship. His mother works at a laundromat to pay for his administrative fees. While they are not close friends, they frequently collaborate during math competitions, consistently achieving victory. After winning first place in the Teen Genius competition, they discover a scholarship opportunity abroad, but only one slot is available, making them rivals. Feeling overwhelmed by the pressure, Bank prioritizes helping his mother with their broken washing machine over studying. One day, Bank is approached by a classmate named Tong, who offers to pay him for help during an exam, because he struggles with the piano code. Bank declines, refusing to accept dirty money. During the exam, Lynn continues her usual hand signals, but Tong, unable to memorize them, attempts to peek at Lynn's paper. Bank, suspicious of Tong's actions, watches him closely and notices his attempted cheating. After Bank finishes his own test, he pretends to trip near Lynn's desk, showing her a note indicating Tong's cheating. Lynn feigns gratitude, and Bank reports Tong to the teacher before leaving. However, the teacher dismisses the warning, explaining that the test is divided into different sets, making cheating impossible. Realizing their mistake, Lynn and her paying clients panic. They discreetly use hand gestures to indicate the different test sets, with Lynn having set A. She signals the A set first, allowing everyone with that set to submit their tests. While the teacher is distracted by that group, Lynn exchanges her paper with Tong, who has set B. She hurriedly completes the remaining exercises and signals the answers to the B group. With time running out and the teacher approaching, they manage to finish just in time. Once the test concludes, everyone believes they are safe. However, Lynn and Tong are summoned to the principal's office after Bank reports their cheating. Despite their attempts to deny the accusations, the principal discovers that Lynn's and Tong's papers are mixed. Lynn's father is called for a meeting, and the principal announces that Lynn will not be expelled, but will lose her scholarship due to her involvement. Lynn confronts the principal, exposing the school's exploitation of her father's fees, while she was supposed to have a scholarship. Enraged, the principal revokes Lynn's opportunity to apply for an international university scholarship, eliminating Bank's rival. Devastated by the unfairness of it all, Bank feels guilty for his victory. Back at home, Lynn's father reprimands her for her actions, refusing to wear the shirt she bought him. Meanwhile, Grace visits Pat's home for dinner with his parents. They attribute Pat's academic improvement to Grace's influence, and suggest that she and Pat apply for the stick together, promising to cover the expenses. Desperate, Grace reaches out to Lynn for help. Initially reluctant to jeopardize her reputation again, Lynn succumbs to Grace's plea, driven by their friendship and the promise of a larger payment. However, as Lynn reads the test rules while leaving the building, she realizes there is no way to cheat the system. She starts writing an apology note, but overhears a conversation between a man and someone in another country, noticing the various clocks displaying different time zones on the wall. This sparks a perfect idea. The next day, Lynn reveals her plan to Grace and Pat. They will exploit the time zone difference. Lynn will take the test in Australia 4 hours earlier, passing the answers back to Thailand, and selling them to anyone interested. Grace and Pat's role is to find clients willing to pay for the answers and cover the expenses. This plan would enable Lynn to attend Boston University as well. In order to retrieve the answers, Lynn must commit them to memory. However, due to time constraints, she can only memorize half of the test. While Bank possesses the ability to memorize the other half, they refrain from involving him as he strongly opposes cheating. The night before the scholarship test, Bank is engaged in delivering laundry for the laundromat on his scooter. Upon returning home, he is ambushed by 2 thugs who falsely accuse him of damaging their car with his scooter. They proceed to assault him before leaving him unconscious in a landfill. When Bank regains consciousness the following morning, he is devastated to realize that he has missed the exam opportunity. Meanwhile, Lynn learns of the incident and visits Bank, urging him to join their group with the promise of generous compensation. Initially refusing, Bank's perspective shifts when Lynn highlights the system's exploitation of impoverished individuals like themselves, leading him to see cheating as a fair response. With the memorization aspect covered, they meticulously plan their operation. Lynn and Bank will take the exam in Australia, concealing phones inside the building's restrooms. During the exam breaks, they will excuse themselves to send the answers to Grace and Pat. For the final section of the exam without a break, they will feign illness. Grace and Pat will print the answers on barcode stickers affixed to pencils, which will be distributed to paying students via bicycles, enabling them to have the answers just before their flights. To attract more clients, Pat delivers a Steve Jobs-inspired presentation, resulting in substantial earnings. Grace utilizes her editing skills to fabricate false documentation, while Lynn convinces her father to sign the papers by claiming they are for Lynn's participation in the Australian branch of Teen Genius, thereby allowing her to travel without an adult. When it is Pat's turn, he includes a fabricated story that portrays Bank as a loser who woke up in a landfill. Enraged, Bank attacks Pat in response, but the girls swiftly intervene, revealing that Bank never disclosed the incident to anyone. It becomes evident that Pat orchestrated the assault to prevent Bank from taking the exam, compelling him to assist with their plan instead. Bank decides to quit, storming out of the building. However, while on the street, he notices an advertisement for a laundromat and contemplates whether he can have that life permanently. Simultaneously, Lynn becomes disgusted by the situation and also decides to quit. Grace, pleading with Lynn, insists that she had no knowledge of Pat's scheme and implores Lynn not to sever their friendship, emphasizing its importance. Lynn subsequently searches for Bank, who, realizing that Lynn is responsible for his predicament, implores her to rectify the situation, stating that she bears responsibility for his involvement. After several hours, Lynn and Bank fly to Sydney, maintaining an awkward and silent demeanor throughout the journey. On the morning of the test, they discreetly place phones in the bathrooms before proceeding to the classroom. They swiftly complete the initial section of the test without issue, allowing them ample time to memorize the answers. During the first break, Lynn and Bank rush to the bathrooms to send their answers. However, Bank, seeking additional compensation, demands more money from Pat. While initially resistant, Pat relents, acknowledging Bank's desire for recompense after the assault. Bank receives half of the money and is promised the remainder after the test. Bank manages to send his answers just before the inspector becomes suspicious of his prolonged absence and knocks on his stall. Panicking, Bank accidentally breaks the toilet lid in his haste and futilely attempts to flush the phone down the toilet, ultimately getting caught. Meanwhile, Lynn waits in line for her turn in the bathroom. She successfully sends all her answers, but her extended absence arouses suspicion. Fortunately, she conceals her phone in her shoes and escapes the bathroom undetected. However, outside, she discovers Bank being reprimanded, and realizing that all students are being searched, she discreetly places the phone in a water cooler before returning to the classroom. Initially daunted by the extensive material, Lynn's hand begins to move instinctively, enabling her to memorize the answers as if reading sheet music. The strategy works, but time is limited, prompting Lynn to induce vomiting using a pencil. Simulating illness, she departs from the classroom, retrieves her phone, and covertly exits the building while evading the officers. Dashes through the subway station while texting the answers, but she collides with someone, causing her phone screen to shatter. Believing she cannot complete her task, Lynn perseveres and manages to transmit all the answers after persistent tapping. This delay results in her missing the train, allowing the officer to apprehend her and request her cooperation for questioning. While leaving, Lynn discreetly places the phone in a random person's bag. Meanwhile, Pat and Grace are in the process of printing the answers when Lynn's father arrives. Concerned about Lynn's unresponsiveness and discovering the address on the signed paperwork, he seeks answers. Pat and Grace fabricate a story, claiming that Lynn and Bank are romantically involved and embarked on a trip, with Lynn deceiving her father out of fear of disapproval. Satisfied with the explanation, Lynn's father departs, enabling the duo to complete the stickers just in time for the distribution of pencils to students. In the interrogation room, Lynn encounters Bank, who signals her not to interfere as he fabricates a story to protect everyone. Tearfully, Lynn deletes the selfie they took together. Upon returning home, Grace and Pat await Lynn, inviting her to a celebration party for their triumph. However, Lynn declines, burdened by guilt as her scores were invalidated and Bank faced suspension. She refuses further involvement, highlighting the impracticality of cheating during university exams, and calls her father to pick her up. In an emotional breakdown, she confesses everything to him. Consequently, she is expelled from school. Later, Lynn exits the group chat, disregarding Grace's pleas to attend the party. Having lost a friend, the taste of victory loses its luster. Lynn attempts to apply to a local university to study education, but the officer reminds her that teachers must uphold good morals, intensifying her feelings of guilt. Following the interview, Lynn receives an unexpected text from Bank, summoning her to his residence. Upon arriving, she notices the laundromat equipment greatly improved through Bank's use of the money. Bank explains his intent to earn more by assisting other students with their tests. Lynn informs him that she has already made her decision. Subsequently, Lynn visits the stick organization, motivated by her father's encouragement, and confesses the entire operation.